I'm coming to you from my white privilege closet. Anyway, I was responding to my post that I posted the other day where there was a lot of comments from people saying, like, how could I vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump? They're both terrible options. So I wanted to just give you some three really solid points about why you should vote for Biden. A, because Kamala Harris is his vice presidential pick. That's one. Two is healthcare. The Republicans got into office, Donald Trump got into office and wanted to repeal and replace Obamacare. All he attempted was to repeal. They've had 4 years to come up with a plan, 4 years to come up with a health plan that's going to be better, and that's going to address people who have pre-existing conditions in this country. There are 130 million people with pre-existing conditions that will be left without health care if they repeal Obamacare with no plan to replace it. Climate change is not a hoax. It's real. It's happening. There are fires. There are floods. There are more hurricanes this year than we've ever seen. And it's been happening for the last few years. And it's an international, global issue. We are the only country in the world that has a political party that pretends that climate change is not real. We are Syria. So if you want to look up to Assad, who uses chemical warfare on his own people, then that's who you can look up to for the other person who doesn't believe in climate change. The third thing is we're in the middle of a global pandemic that our president pretends is not happening. 206,000 Americans have died. This is a global pandemic. So if you believe that climate change is a hoax or the pandemic is a hoax, then you need to turn on different news sources that are not in this country. Watch the BBC, watch Al Jazeera. They report on the pandemic. It is a global pandemic. It's not a joke. I know people who have died. I know people who've gotten sick. And we have the ability to elect somebody who's going to address it. And he's going to put a cabinet together that reflects what this country should look like, not just old white guys who are fucking racist and pissed off that we had a black president. And for all of the people on there, on my Trump supporters who are like, oh, shut up about racism being over. We wrote the Declaration of Independence saying we want freedom from Britain when we had 200,000 slaves in this country. That's what happened. And then we built on that and we had more slaves and we had more, 250 years of it actually, stealing parents from their babies, forcing people to do the work to make this country rich and prosper. And then after that, we still enslaved them by creating laws in the South that prohibited them from being in the same places as us or the same pools and drinking from the same water fountains. So no, racism isn't over because we had a black president, you fucking morons. It's not over. The reason why we're in this situation today and why racism is bubbling even more than it has been in the past years is because we had a black president and there are white people in power that think that means the whole world is taken over by black people. We should be so lucky. So you vote for Joe Biden for equality. You vote for Joe Biden for doing something about climate change, and you vote for Joe Biden for doing something about the pandemic, which frankly, my third grade nephew could have had a better response to this pandemic. We are on the brink of a huge economic collapse because Trump has done nothing. My nephew might not be in third grade. He might be in sixth. I don't know. I'm not that great of an aunt.